Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? I don't want to work. I don't want to bang on the drum all day, but maybe play the bass guitar all day. I certainly don't want to work someplace where I'm considered expendable, where I'm not being, compensated well enough, or if I'm just doing work that isn't rewarding, which doesn't mean anything to me. And I want to talk a little bit about my experiences working but not working, because I've had some experiences that way, and also about some things that I've had to reconsider, that perhaps I've been misinformed. And I don't mean in a conspiracy theory kind of way, but some base assumptions, some things that I've taken as axiomatic, which I'm now starting to question to a certain extent. So, I'm not going to go through my whole work history, but I certainly, started working when I was 15 years old. I've had a bunch of jobs I liked, a bunch of jobs I didn't like, jobs that paid well, jobs that didn't pay well. I've had some periods of time in my life where I didn't work. And usually it's like I got laid off. I was unemployed for a period of time in between jobs. I'd gotten fired from a job. I had, points where like I was injured for a brief period of time, still had the job but wasn't working, or that sort of thing. And had another condition for a little while, which we've talked about. However, very recently, I've had a period of time where I wasn't working, and it wasn't any of those. It was in 2020. It wasn't for COVID, because I was an essential employee. So for the first half of 2020, I went to work every day and was making less money than people that weren't going to work. To be honest with you, I'm pretty sure it was right around there. It was close, which was fine. I didn't mind it. The roads were clear. You could, there were some advantages to not having so many people around. However, as I've mentioned before, during the second half of 2020, the first few months of 2021, my girlfriend at the time was, terminal with lung cancer. And then after she passed away in December 2020, there was 3 months where I got the affairs in order and then was just looking for a job. And then, finally was able to find another one and went back to work. So I had this different period of time where I wasn't working. And, people were very generous with fundraisers, so I didn't have to worry about money during this period of time. And one of the things that I noticed was that I got all these things done that I'd been meaning to do for 10 or 15 years. There came a period of time where it took more and more time to take care of Megan. That was more effort. However, there was a whole bunch of times where I was able to spend a good amount of my time not idle, but doing all kinds of things, doing things that I enjoyed, that we enjoyed. It was a different experience. And I remember applying for jobs and really thinking, man, I just don't think I want to go back. What am I going to do? Have another fundraiser and say, Ivan doesn't want to work? Maybe his mental health has snapped. I wasn't going to do that. But I went back and, it's funny. I have a lot of friends that have retired, and they're telling me that, man, I wish I'd done this a long time before. And same kind of stories. I'm getting all these things done. I don't run out of things to do. And I remember in the 80s, kind of like early 80s, especially early mid 80s, they kept on quoting this study that had been done at some point where it pretty much said that when people retired, they only lived for a couple of years. And so it was better for people not to retire and to stay busy, because once you didn't have a purpose in life, you just keeled over and fell over. And it wasn't until later, somebody mentioned something about the retirement age and Social Security and the life expectancy in America and the average life expectancy. And I went back and I checked. And, when they did that study, when the study they're referring to, people didn't live that long anyway. People went, got Social Security at 65, and they tended to die at about 66 because everybody did. So it's bogus information, New information, man, has come to light. So that was an assumption I held for a long time. And the assumptions I've held as well that you have to, be super productive. And there's that moment of well, why? I mean, I'm not talking about not pulling my weight. I'm not talking about not, making sure that, I do the things I need to do to keep myself fed, to take care of my responsibilities, that sort of thing. However, there was this big mindset or always, big expectations. And these things I just considered axiomatic. And, for a long time I would tell people, yeah, well, they call it work because, they pay us and because we wouldn't go there otherwise. That's why it's called work, And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. And yes, I understand that most people don't have satisfying work. Most people don't, that have satisfying work, it doesn't pay enough or a lot. And I'm still at this point where I'm thinking, well, why should I not, go for that anyway? And, the expectation, once again, that, everything I heard when I was a kid was basically, you're going to go get a job. You're going to go to college or whatever you need to do to get a good job, as if that's the end goal. And it's not the end goal. The end goal for me is enjoying life, doing things, because I believe at the end of the day, your purpose is what you make it. And we only have so much time here. So what do I want to be doing during that time? How much do I want to be working? And if I'm working, can I do something which makes sense to me, which is fulfilling in and of itself? And, maybe, start some kind of business or career or something that's outside of the norm. So yeah, the more experience I have with this, the less I really want to do that, because it's taking a lot of my time and a lot of my energy to go in there and work a conventional job for somebody else that I just don't like. You know what I mean? And I'm thankful for the job I have. Trust me, I really am. It's perks, benefits, all those kind of things, great. But, I just feel like there's probably something better out there. And, while I'm happy with the life I have, I'm grateful for the life I have, I think it's time to start looking. What about you?